Well, hello, my name is Dr. Christine Anderson. I am a Los Angeles-based chiropractor who really works with the neurologic system, and my specialty is pediatrics and pregnancy, as well as brain-based chiropractic. So besides doing what I do as a chiropractor, in the office with adjusting patients, I also do a lot of integrative care with testing and finding out if there are any deficiencies or things that patients might need to make adjustments in their diet or with supplements. So I want to come on and talk about magnesium because it is an amazing mineral. I'm calling it the master mineral because it does so many things in the body. And you can see here from the list, I'm talking about balancing blood sugar, with helping circulation, blood pressure, the nervous system, pain relief, bone density, joint and ligament flexibility, helping with sleep, um, cellular energy production, so many things, so many more. And so we're going to dive right on in to the presentation. So first of all, you will often see the abbreviation Mg for magnesium. It is in the periodic table of elements. That is the abbreviation. And sometimes I will use it too when I'm writing. So if you see Mg, think magnesium. So it is the second most concentrated mineral in our cells. Number one is potassium, but it actually helps with getting potassium into the cells, so it is super important for the functioning of our cells. A lot of the functions it does revolves around enzyme activation, and enzymes are the things that are catalysts. They get other processes going in the body, so it is super important for how our body functions. We find 60% of our magnesium in our bone, 26% in our muscle, and 14% in soft tissue and body fluids. There's also organs that have a super high concentration of magnesium, and that's going to be the brain, the heart, the liver, and the kidney. And these are all organs that have a super high metabolism. Right. Well, where do we find magnesium in our diet? So here is a little chart that shows foods that are high in magnesium, and the amount is going to vary. And I've put, most of these are per 100 grams, which I know is kind of weird in the US. We don't do so many things in grams, but it's a nice round measurement. So let's go down the line here. Pumpkin seeds are a fantastic source of magnesium. And 592 milligrams per 100 gram gives you 140% of the recommended daily allowance, which we'll talk about in a second. Now, 1 cup of pumpkin seeds is equal to about 129 grams. So that gives you some idea of the ratio for pumpkin seeds. And you can do a conversion if you're looking at a particular thing, how many grams would be in a cup or so. But a kitchen scale will help you too. But this gives you some idea of the picking one amount to measure, that you can see the ratio of which foods are highest in magnesium. So almonds are a really good source too at 268 milligrams per 100 grams. That gives you 67% of the RDA. And 1 cup is about 95 grams. So about 1 cup will give you that. Raw spinach is 79 milligrams per 100 grams. It's about 20% of the RDA. And going down the line. Now with the beans, it's going to vary with the type of beans that you are eating. So pinto beans, I could only find the ratio to raw. So 100 grams of raw pinto beans, those are the dried ones before you cook them. is 176 milligrams per 100 grams, and that's about 44% of the RDA, so a really good source. Black beans and kidney beans would be cooked, same with chickpeas, lentils, so everything else I could find values with cooked. And 70 milligrams per 100 grams for black beans, which is a really great source. And then it kind of goes down the line from there. So your pinto and your black beans appear to be the best sources of magnesium, but kidney beans, chickpeas, lentils also are good sources. Dark chocolate is another great source of magnesium. So this is going to be 60 to 69% cocoa solid. So you'll see that on the label, depending on how much is in there. So the darker, you might get like 90% cocoa solids. And that would be 176 milligrams per 100 grams. And then let's go down the line. Same thing with cacao powder, which is not the same thing as cocoa powder. It's the what chocolate is made from, the cacao. Avocado, Brazil nuts. We've got some nuts here. Nuts are also a really good source. So Brazil nuts, 1/3 cup is equal to about 167 milligrams. That's about 50% of the RDA. Pine nuts, 1/3 cup is 113 milligrams. So some really great sources of magnesium: nuts, seeds, beans, cacao, or dark chocolate. These are really great for you to add into your diet. Poor sources would be things like dairy and meat. So when you're looking at your diet, try to get a balance of what you're eating to make sure you're getting all the nutrients in your diet. If you have a special diet like gluten-free or paleo or vegan, you just have to make sure, you can do it with diet, but you just have to make sure that you're getting a well-rounded nutritional base within whatever you're eating. All right, so let's look at this recommended daily, the dietary allowance, the RDAs for magnesium. So you're going to see here, look at the age and then the male and female. So it's going to depend on how much they're recommending, depending on how old you are and also which sex you are, male or female, because there's obviously differences in our physiologies and the need for development at a younger age, and growth is not going to be so great the smaller the size. Now, if a woman is pregnant or lactating, then she's also going to need more magnesium. So there's that chart as well. And this is just a general guideline. When we talk about recommended dietary allowances, we're talking about what is the absolute minimum that you need to prevent disease. So it doesn't mean that it is the optimal, it just means that you shouldn't go below that value. If you have other things going on, you may need more, or if you have other health conditions, you may need less. So let's just dive in a little bit deeper to these magnesium benefits. On the top left there, that red picture is actually a mitochondria. I'm pretty sure it's an electromicrograph that they colored because those electromicrographs are in black and white. But when I was learning about mitochondria in school, I just found them fascinating. And maybe one day I'll just do a video about mitochondria. But if you look down underneath the mitochondria, there's a whole system of how we produce ATP, which is our energy currency. 6 out of the 8 steps in this process, also known as the Krebs cycle or the citric acid cycle, requires magnesium as a cofactor for the steps. And if you don't have enough magnesium, guess what? You're not going to be able to make ATP. So it is so important for energy production, which is why I put this diagram on there just to show you like, whoa, okay, I need this for energy. It also helps support the adrenal glands for energy production. Now, as far as enzymatic reactions, magnesium is involved in over 600 enzymatic reactions, including energy metabolism, protein synthesis, digestion, absorption, and assimilation of food, so many processes. Help learning and memory. So the brain contains one of the highest concentrations of mitochondria, all right? And it needs to have magnesium for those mitochondria to make ATP for the brain to function. Therefore, your learning and memory will be enhanced if you are having enough magnesium. Now, as far as brain health, there was a 2022 study, and they actually found a certain type of magnesium called magnesium L-threonate, which we'll talk about in a minute, helps exhibit, they call it neuroprotective effects. It means it helps protect the brain from degeneration and deterioration against oxidative stress. Those are your free radicals that you produce in your body or you get in from the environment that creates damage and inflammation and aging and degeneration. And it also helped protect against hippocampal brain cell death in mice. And the hippocampus is where we actually store our memories that we have to retrieve. So this was a study that they did. Yes, it was in mice, but this is one of the effects of the magnesium L-threonate, because it is able to get through the blood-brain barrier, which is what things have to get through in order to get into the brain, and not all forms of magnesium have this effect. All right, number 5, heart and cardiovascular system health. So the heart has a 20-fold concentration of magnesium. It's actually sometimes called nature's calcium channel blocker. What this means is it helps block the entry of calcium into the smooth muscle that's encapsulated in the blood vessels, as well as the heart muscle cells. And then as a result, it's going to help reduce vascular resistance. It's going to help lower blood pressure, which is an effect of this reduced vascular resistance. It has other effects too on the sodium-potassium pump, which affects how much blood volume you have in your system. And it also helps with more efficient heart function. So many heart and cardiovascular system benefits. It can help with stronger bones and teeth. So magnesium helps to, it's got a critical role in getting the formation of the bones and the density. So we are constantly breaking down our bones and building them back up. So if you didn't know that, you constantly have a new skeleton. I think it's like every 7 years. Really crazy. But magnesium is needed for this to happen. So our proper calcium metabolism, whether we are taking it in and depositing it or withdrawing, is also affected by hormones like the parathyroid hormone, which magnesium has an effect on, as well as calcitonin. So this is all regulated, or helped to be regulated, I should say, by magnesium. Number 7 is magnesium's, one of the benefits is as a stress reliever. And this has to do with one of our major neurotransmitters called GABA, which encourages relaxation. And magnesium also helps stabilize cortisol, which is one of our major stress hormones. So when you are under a lot of stress, you make cortisol, and magnesium helps the process that you're not over making cortisol. Improved sleep is number 8. Tends to be more sound and deeper with magnesium because of the production of GABA, which we just talked about. It's inhibitory. It promotes relaxation. And they found with studies that 400 to 600 milligrams of magnesium threonate, malate, or glycinate helped to improve sleep. It also helps with inflammation and helping us not have too much. Low magnesium has been linked to more inflammation and inflammatory markers, things like CRP. It's a heart inflammatory marker. It helps to enhance our cellular function with that sodium-potassium pump. We want to put sodium out of the cell and bring potassium in to help with the balance of the magnetic structure of the cell, so that it creates more of a positive outside and a negative inside. And that way, the inflammation is not in the cell, it pushes fluid out. So magnesium is really important in this sodium-potassium pump, which is crucial for your cellular function. And I talk a lot about this in a video I did on PEMF, natural PEMF. So I'll put a link to that in the description. All right, muscle recovery and helping with relaxing muscles. So magnesium helps with moving blood sugar into your muscles. It helps to get rid of lactic acid buildup, which will sometimes occur after you are exercising or any intense activity. Magnesium is so important for nerve transmission, which is the thing that controls our muscles in the contraction phase. So magnesium is going to help decrease nervous system excitability. It's going to calm everything down, and then the whole mind, body, spirit system can relax. So one of my favorite times to take magnesium is actually in the evening for this reason. It also, as an effect, will help relax smooth muscle. Now, this is not the muscle that we contract. It's not, when you think of lifting weights. It's actually the type of muscle, it's a different type that's in our organ systems. And what it lines, a couple of important things, are our bronchial airways, and also our uterine muscle is smooth muscle. So magnesium can help relax smooth muscle as well as skeletal muscle. So if you're having any contraction of your airways or your uterine muscle, magnesium definitely is a miracle mineral. Number 11, youthful skin. So DNA replication and repair is dependent on the enzymes that require magnesium. So if you are not repairing and renewing and rejuvenating, then your skin is going to reflect that if you do not have enough magnesium to help with that process. Fewer headaches, and this includes migraines. That's because of the magnesium being needed for proper nervous system functioning, and also the balance of magnesium and calcium, because too much calcium in our system can cause neurotoxic effects. And when our brain gets overstimulated, then the brain cells can start to die. It also is going to help regulate those neurotransmitters, which can affect having different types of headaches and migraines. Headache is a symptom, by the way. So when you have a headache, it means something's out of balance in the body. And 13, we're almost there, bowel function. So unabsorbed magnesium has a laxative effect. And there are certain types of magnesiums that do this, and we're going to talk about those. But it's going to draw water into the bowel system to help support healthy elimination. So it's a combination with the bowel system. You have to take in your fiber, but you also need to take in water with that, otherwise things can get stopped up. And that's definitely no fun. And magnesium also plays a role in regulating the muscle contractions that help move the waste through the system. So it can be helpful in relieving any discomfort or cramping, especially for those people who might have things like IBS. Lastly, I put in here, we talked a little bit about this with the youthful skin, but magnesium is needed for the synthesis. So making DNA, RNA, which is what reads the DNA to make proteins, and the antioxidant glutathione, which is designated by GSH, they are all need magnesium to be synthesized. So these are the benefits encapsulated because there are just so many benefits to magnesium. All right, so what might you experience if you are not getting enough magnesium in your diet, or maybe you're not taking enough as a supplement? So some of these things you're going to see are basically effects of the benefits, like fatigue. So you're not making enough energy, poor cognition, it's not getting into your brain, mood and behavior issues. With the mood and behavior disorders, because of that GABA production in the brain, which is calming, if you don't have enough GABA made, you're going to be irritable. You're going to have anxiety. You might have symptoms of ADHD or other mood imbalances. Now, heart disturbances is another big category. That could be irregular heartbeats, it could be arrhythmias, it could be heart disease, it could be blood pressure issues. I mean, there's so much with the cardiovascular system, but if you have any of those types of things, you might be magnesium deficient. Or if you have those issues, you want to make sure you're getting enough magnesium. You don't want to wait until you're deficient. So the heart definitely relies on magnesium for proper contractility. So in order for that heart to do its work, it needs to have enough power. It also, it has to do with the nervous system too. So you also want to make sure you're well adjusted for that nervous system to control the heart function. I thought I just slipped that in there. Numbness and tingling problems would be your nerve conduction issues. We talked about muscle cramps and spasms. Chronic pain and fibromyalgia is another type of issue that you might have, and it could be physical and also mental, because anytime you have negative emotions like anxiety, anger, fear, worry, grief, it can contribute to physical tension, and then that can lead to pain if it's chronic. Loss of appetite, insomnia, predisposition to stress, and constipation. So it makes sense once you know what the benefits are and how magnesium helps us that we might have some of these things if we're deficient. So there's actually been a lot of studies done with magnesium, and I've listed these things here from the research that they've done. So these are actually conditions that they found to benefit from magnesium supplementation. So if you have any one of these things, or if you know somebody that does, get them this information because they may be helped by magnesium. So there's a couple of reasons why you might become magnesium deficient, but in general, it's really common. The National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey of 2013 to 16 found that 48% of all Americans of all ages ingest less magnesium from food and beverages than their respective expected average requirement. In other words, their RDA. All right, 48% of our population. Specifically, adult men aged 71 years or older and adolescent males and females are most likely to have a low daily intake of magnesium. I don't know why the adult men, I can see adolescents with their diet, why they might be deficient. But also in general, our soils are really depleted in nutrition because of the way of things are farmed now, especially since the 1970s. A lot has changed. And whether we're talking about the introduction of GMOs and the pesticides and herbicides they use, and if they're not rotating crops and putting the nutrition back into the soil, if the nutrition isn't there, then you're not going to get it in your food. So this is a huge problem with our food. If you're just depending on your food, you may still fall short. Geriatrics, so older people in general, have a harder time. Usually with their diet, they're not getting in all the nutrition they need. And also women who are premenstrual tend to be lower in magnesium, which makes sense when you look at their cravings for chocolate, right? Because that has magnesium. The body is so amazing. Oops, what happened to my PowerPoint? I do not know what happened there. Uh-oh. Let me see. I have me in double time here. Okay. Let's see if we can... Wow. I'm so sorry. This is what happens sometimes when you are live. I'm going to pull that PDF back in. And now I'm going to try to get myself overlaid. Good. Let me go through here. I really don't even know what I did there. Okay. Let's get back to everything here. All right. So we are looking at just some reasons why you might be deficient. The farming and diet is definitely one of the reasons. If you're not absorbing the magnesium into your gut because of leaky gut syndrome, that is where too much stuff in your gut is getting out into your bloodstream and not enough nutrients are getting into your cells. Believe it or not, low stomach acid means that you might not be breaking down your food adequately to be absorbed into your system. And anything that's sending the food through too quickly, including chronic diarrhea or irritable bowel. So you can have too little movement and you can have too much so that the nutrients just get washed away. Too high of a carb diet, alcohol, laxatives, again, these things are going to stop the absorption of magnesium and other nutrients as well. The B vitamins, which are super crucial, especially B6, they works with magnesium. Caffeine, again, that creates a diuretic effect. And if you have the condition of diabetes and insulin resistance, that means you're having issues with your getting the blood sugar stabilized. And so there's some problems with that too. So these are some reasons why people can become magnesium deficient. But I would say probably number one is the poor diet, low in magnesium, and then maybe gut issues. All right, so with magnesium supplementation, we've got different forms of magnesium. On the left-hand side, you're going to see laxative effect. And those are the forms, you'll see magnesium citrate, magnesium oxide, magnesium sulfate. Those are the ones that are going to create more of a laxative effect. And you've got to be careful because if you take too much, you might have an accident if you're not near a toilet. So if you don't have constipation issues, I recommend to stay away from these forms. And you have to watch how much magnesium you take, because if you do take too much, even of the supplemental form on the other side, it can still create a laxative effect. So in this case of magnesium, you can take too much. Any of us who have taken magnesium, I think we've all been there and done that. And thankfully, for me, I was in the restroom at the time. Okay, now, so first of all, I want to give a caveat because everybody is different. So when I talk about these things, I'm talking in general. And I'm not here to diagnose or, recommend anything particular because I'm not your doctor. I'm not your healthcare professional. So these are recommendations for you to speak with whomever you're working with. But people with kidney disease or severe heart disease should not take magnesium or potassium unless their specific healthcare provider advises it. So there are some people who should not take magnesium. Just know this. But I really recommend all of you find a healthcare practitioner to work with to help you navigate the waters of diet, supplementation, lifestyle changes, because there is so much stuff and there's so much stuff out there. You don't want to be just downing supplements all the time. You want to be specific for how to help yourself. Okay. So even though there's a few things I take on a regular basis and magnesium is one of them. Sometimes I do not take it every day. All right. But chances are I will, just because of all the benefit effects. And I have ways that I'm able to test myself to see if I need it, either using muscle testing. And I will put a video that I have done on how to muscle test yourself. And I also have a frequency device that I have all my supplements scanned into, which tells me what I need to help support my body that day. So that's that. We talked about magnesium L-threonate, which is proven across that blood-brain barrier for neurologic benefit. So if you have anything going on with your neurologic system, I highly recommend that form. Another form that I really like is magnesium glycinate. And it's highly bioavailable. It's a chelate in the glycinate form. It helps support your metabolism and the utilization of carbohydrates, amino acids, and fats for energy. Helps activate the enzymes for the functions of cardiac health and that type of thing. So that's another really great form. Malate is a good form. So is orotate. And sorry, there's a typo there. It's not oronate. It's orotate. T-A-T-E. And in general, there is a recommendation of taking 6 milligrams of magnesium per 2.2 pounds of body weight. Yes, it involves math, but I've given you some examples here. A 110-pound person, that would be about 300 milligrams. 154-pound person, that's 420 milligrams. 200-pound person, that's 540. So you can get an idea. But if you need help with the math, just ask me. Math doesn't scare me. So let's, one other thing for researched uses for magnesium, memory and learning. Magnesium supplementation has been shown to be beneficial in treatment of preeclampsia. So we've talked about all of that. And so that's these forms here, but L-threonate for the brain in particular. All right, so that is it. We made it through despite technical difficulties. And you can find me at losangeles-chiropractor.com. Contact me through my website. It is the best way to get a hold of me. And I do so many things. There's so much on my website because I have had 30 years of experience. I keep adding tools in my tool belt. But I am a neurologic-based chiropractor. The brain comes first because it controls every single thing in the body. So we need to make sure we're having full functioning brains. And we need no interference back and forth. And that is where the chiropractic comes in. I'm also a homeopath. I love doing family wellness care and having families come into the office, or there's a lot of things I can do remotely, especially helping with the integrative care, the nutritional counseling, supplement support. I can do testing because there's test kits I can send you. I have a frequency scanner that I use and optimization that I can do remotely if you're not in the Los Angeles area. Detoxification plans, gut support plans, so much more that I can help you with, because I have helped so many people over 30 years. And anytime anything goes on with me, it's the best learning. So most of the time you're going to be benefiting from my personal experience and also my professional. All right, so have a great evening. And if you liked this information, you found it useful, please give me a thumbs up. It really does make a difference if you like the video. It does help its distribution. If you haven't yet subscribed, do that. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when I post a video or go live. And please share this with your friends. Everybody needs to know about magnesium because it is such a miracle mineral. But keep in mind too, super important as well. I forgot to mention this, but I will put in the description a link to my full script protocol for magnesium. Gives you, at the time of this video, it's giving you 10% off. If you watch this down the line, I don't know, but 10% off on the supplements that I recommend in the magnesium protocol link. You don't have to get all of the supplements because I put a lot of different forms in there, and I put some capsules and liquid and sprays and lotions. That's actually another great way to do it. If you want to bypass your gut system, you can do Epsom salts, or even better is the, so this is highly unlikely, but the magnesium chloride can be found in Epsom salts, and also magnesium flakes, which get assimilated even better, that you can have a bath and it gets absorbed right into your skin, right into your bloodstream. So this is great for kids because sometimes magnesium supplements don't taste too great, although I put some liquid ones in there that are flavored. Or you can get sprays or lotions to spray on your body. So on any particular maybe area that's painful, muscles, joints, ligaments, that type of thing, or over your belly, if you're having any digestive or uterine issues. So that is another way topically that you can supplement with your magnesium. And so those things are also in this protocol I created on full script, so you can take advantage. And I'm really particular about my supplements. I don't recommend everything because even if it's a company you might have used before, sometimes they're adding things extra to their supplement that I'm not too fond of. So I try to get things that are as pure as possible. I have certain brands I like. And also, I try to get food-based as much as possible, but it's very hard with mineral supplementation because you can take the foods that I mentioned and mix up your own concoction, but otherwise with vitamins, I try to get things that are food-based. All right, that's it. A lot of info. Thanks for keeping up with me there. Like I said, if you want to get a hold of me, this is my the best way to do it. All right, have a great evening, and I will see you next time.